Right, welcome everybody to another episode of Chris and Dave's Reality TV Cast. I'm one of your hosts, Chris, and my co-host and very good friend is Dave.
Hey there, Chris, and hello to our listeners out there. Welcome to Chris and Dave's Reality TV Cast. We are covering Love is Blind UK Season 1, Episodes 5 through to 9. Now, Chris, welcome back, first of all. Where would you like to start today?
Well, Dave, I think we should start with Nicole and Benaya. And I'm going to call him Benaya Dave, but Benaya Twain, because this guy is a fucking absolute bullshitter. I'm not buying any of this nonsense. He's a lot better person than Sam. I'm having it, but I'm not having this fucking lo and behold, I'm fighting the good fight for Nicole. Load of bullshit. As soon as he realised Sam was coming back, he was more than threatened by that chance. I mean, he shouldn't have been, because Sam literally digs his own grave by just fucking opening his mouth and talking, Dave, because he is a complete bellend. But I'm not having these two as a couple. I know it's there. I know, like, it seems genuine, and when they meet the family and everything, there's something off about this Benaya character, Dave. I'm not having it at all.
You know, the last few series that we've done, and we do these silly little songs that we kind of play around with, and, you know, most of them revolve around, a theme of everyone being bellends. And I can't help but want to fall back onto that crutch again, because absolutely, I mean, Sam, I guess we'll get more onto him later, when they all meet up at the bar and stuff. But Benaya's quite an odd character, isn't he? It was also, I don't know, also towy and set up as well. We saw at the end of episode 4 that things weren't going to go well for Nicole and Sam, and we knew she was going to. Well, if you watch the preview for the next batch, you'd see that Benaya was back on the scene. But the fact that, they have this chat, and again, what I want to do, Chris, when I watch these programs, I kind of want to suspend disbelief a little bit. I kind of know what they're all there for, but I want to. It has to make me at least doubt what's going on. But, essentially you've been dumped, and then you turn up for a coffee and have a chat and then fucking propose. It's like, oh, come on. Couldn't you have at least stretched the budget for a second meeting or something? Leave that first meeting with, oh yeah, we should meet up again. And then the next scene, they meet up again and said, I've thought about it, and so I'm going to propose. No, he just turns up, and then by the end of that conversation, they've proposed. But I mean, he is an odd character, isn't he? I mean, just his mannerisms and everything I find off. I said, I lived for about 5 years in Preston. He doesn't speak like anyone that I recognise from Preston. He doesn't live in a house as such, does he? He kind of house sits, apparently. Because he gets to stay in these fancy houses, and he doesn't have to pay money for pesky rent and things like that. And it's like, okay, that's an interesting lifestyle choice. But those things are like, okay, they're a little bit outside what I would consider the norm. But what I found particularly distasteful, I actually thought his behavior when Sam kind of even was mentioned about Nicole talking to Sam again, he became quite controlling. I mean, you could say he was fearful about how it could go. Could this re-spark something that was maybe there before? But I thought it got quite toxic quite quickly about how he wanted to just shut that off and close it down. It's just, I didn't like it at all.
No, I'm with you. I think it was more, as I said before, I think it's more to do with his own insecurities than anything. And you're right. They have a fucking meeting, don't they? You're not seeing each other properly at all. I mean, let's be honest, there's a massive height difference. I didn't realise Nicole was a lot smaller than him in height. Like he's a tall guy, but he's just, you're right, there's just something off, the controlling. I even think the way he had a go at Sam, we know what we're getting with Sam. Yeah. He's a complete dick. But I don't think he come out of that conversation any better. I thought he come out of it probably worse. You know, Sam's going to say something to try and win the argument. And then you got to give Sam credit, Dave. Oh, it's just Hollywood, this guy. Really? Fucking really? Are you for real there, son?
It's like the Spider-Man meme, isn't it?
Yeah, come on. But I do think Sam was also right, because Benaya had his moment, and he had to prove to Nicole because what was weird is he was saying to Sam initially, I don't, someone I really care about. And then he did say love, but I don't know. They seem happy, and it was when they met like the families and that. I thought it was very odd with his family, like the conversation. Nicole was sat there watching. She was such a nice person. She seemed really genuine, and she sat there like listening to what they're saying. And I know things got a little bit emotional, but the whole dynamic of it. And I do think, to be fair, as much as these cameras there, and they've obviously said, will you partake in this video? And I've questioned it myself, saying this is bullshit. You've got cameras from every angle. And you can clearly see they've reshot some things. But I do think the reactions of the family are quite genuine in this time. I don't know about you, Dave. The American one's never convinced me, whether it's just because I'm biased being from the UK. But I do feel that when they told Nicole's family and that they didn't know what the hell was going on, they knew she was on a reality show. I felt this whole situation, but then this thing about Sam come out, and I'm like, Benaya, mate, shut your mouth, you're making it worse. So
yeah.
I do believe, watching every single couple meet the family, that there is some truth to the fact that people weren't aware what they were actually going on.
Yeah, maybe they've told them to keep it quiet or whatever. I'm not sure how much I'm buying it, if I'm honest. It's just, the audition process takes ages, doesn't it? You have to apply for the show. Chris, we all know that you applied to go on The Circle. Everyone listening probably, and got offered Naked Attraction instead. So even your close family and friends, if you apply to come on a show like this, I'm pretty sure you're going to tell people about it. So maybe you wouldn't for some people. I don't know, but I'm going to be on the fence with that one. I think I think some of the reactions are more authentic. I'm not saying everything is completely scripted and fake, but I just struggle a little bit to think, oh my God, you're of this age, you've never mentioned this before, and suddenly, we've all watched Love is Blind. Apart from Love Island, it's been one of the biggest shows, hasn't it, in the reality space? So everyone's kind of aware of it. So yeah, I'm not sure I'm buying it, but just sticking on Benaya and Nicole for a little bit longer. I mean, definitely his mum was not media ready, I wouldn't have said.
Yes.
And it's just, again, I just got, Chris, I don't know how, this is possibly a little bit unkind, I don't know how to say it in a better way, other than I was just getting Norman fucking Bates vibes. Just the whole energy around the family, it was very weird. And Benaya, obviously, you're thinking, oh, that's an unusual name, isn't it? So I'm Googling there. It's a biblical name from the First Testament. So they're clearly like a very religious family. But yeah, I didn't feel like a warm, loving environment at all.
No, I don't think it was. And I think as a couple, you just don't look compatible. It looks purely, and maybe Nicole's in on it as well. I might be giving her a bit too much credit, but it just felt like that typical reality TV couple towards the end. More towards Benaya, if I'm being honest. I thought Nicole was sort of buying into it, but I'm not going to be completely surprised if these two, we remain friends, Dave, at the end of this fucking process. But yeah, and I know I talked about Sam and we said we're thinking, but what did you think of that conversation? Because Sam is a complete bellend, isn't he? Oh my God, he's that guy trying to get the last word, and he was trying to win and put Benaya off. Why would you say, well, she wanted to sleep with me? Like, just unless you're being a spiteful little git, basically, which is what he was doing. I was here for it, Dave.
Your own question.
Well, I think I have. Yeah, I was here for it completely because I thought, oh, this is magical reality stuff. But what a dick he was.
Now, I didn't like Sam from very early on in the early episodes, but I don't know. I'm trying to be objective and think, okay, so if he's in this reunion type environment and he comes in and literally he's painted as the villain, then I think he's going to go down swinging. I don't think he's just going to sort of take it and just like literally. I don't know what his motivation, but like I said, it does strike me as a little bit odd that Benaiah, but straight away he's like, yeah, we don't have to talk. You know, even if you're just being civil, you can say, all right, yeah, we'll have a talk. You know, and that's it. And you go and have a talk, and you agree to disagree, and you probably never speak to each other again. But you know, to make this grandstand gesture and what have you. So it seemed to go on this needle throughout the night. So I don't have any sympathy. I don't have any horse in the race with defending Sam. But the fact that he'd lash out a little bit does sort of make sense to me.
Yeah, you're probably right. And I do think Benaiah, now you said that, I think the one thing I would agree with is that I think if Benaiah had kept his mouth shut, Sam would have dug many a hole for himself, Dave, anyway, in any interaction. It would have been easier for Benaiah. Looking back now, I know hindsight, Benaiah seems to think of that to show to Nicole that he cares about her. He's got to go at Sam. Sam had done enough damage. They're not together. She's not going to turn round and go, actually, he's a good guy, because he's not a good guy. He's fame hungry. Everything about his interaction with Nicole was about asking her how good he looked. What does she think? Not like you're a great looking woman. He did say he did compliment her afterwards, but only until he got his own compliments from her. You know, so I know he's got issues with his looks and that. He says that he's had a nose job. He's very insecure, but that's not the way to do it. And he really needs to sort of check himself. So I think I would have come out of this better by just supporting Nicole.
Yeah.
Didn't need to do
100%.
anything else. That would have made perfect sense. But Dave, it won't be reality TV. So anyway, Dave,
it gives us stuff to talk about, doesn't it? But exactly. I mean, what do you think's actually happened there, though? Because again, we didn't really see that much. We kind of got to the end of episode 4, and there wasn't like this drawn out storyline where you could see Nicole and Sam weren't getting on. It was kind of like towards the end of the experiment, Benaiah had made this gesture about Sam not being here for the right reasons or whatever, and then Nicole was like, okay, but I'm gonna choose him anyway, and then that was that, and then they just suddenly weren't together, and you have this thing that Sam said that Nicole hasn't denied, that they were gonna get physical, but he said not to. It just strikes me as weird. I kind of want to know what was the actual thing, what was the trigger to make her say, no, I'm annulling this marriage and I'm going to loop in Benaiah into the experiment.
I think it was probably just purely a physical attraction. I don't think Sam was physically attracted to Nicole. I think it's some of his dialogue when he first met her was there, knowing the way he is and the way he was all about himself. And it's like how I just don't think he was attracted to her. And maybe that was the get out of jail thing. Maybe he was just like, yeah, this isn't for me. I need to go. And then, I mean, it's unusual because the Benaiah thing was bollocks anyway, wasn't it? He did warn Nicole what Sam was doing and she still went for it, didn't she? Whether that was producer-led or not, she still went for him. So it was interesting that they got that redemption arc. Maybe there wasn't enough in the other couples because we don't see all the couples, even some get together. I said it in the last episode, we know that is what happens on it. It's the ones who are the most interesting that they go with, all the ones they feel that in the edit, they can tell a proper story of, and that's what we've got. But yeah, I'm with you. It's really, really weird. And it'd have made sense if Sam had not turned up for the reunion, but he was not fucking saying no to that invitation, was he? He was 100% coming to have his little bit of TV. This guy will be on other TV shows without a doubt. He's going to be on some TV shows. Without a doubt, we have not seen the end of Sam, and I think that's what it is. It's the platform for him. And I think Benaiah's right, and he said that, but I think them two are just dicks. I think Nicole probably deserves someone better than either of them.
Yeah, and I wonder what's going to happen in the next batch of episodes, because obviously we're going to have all the weddings and stuff. But there seemed to be a little bit of a spark with Sam and Catherine, and they say like, oh, we're both in London. Oh, look at that! Isn't that convenient? So I'm not sure if something could possibly happen there. It just the attempt to cling on for dear life to a bit of screen time.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. So, Dave, what did you think? And these fascinate me. This couple, Catherine and Freddie, because I called Catherine out, and I'm still calling Catherine out. I think she's an absolute blagger. However, there was some fucking red flags from good old Freddie as this week went on, Dave. It was almost like the Benaya thing of, don't talk anymore, please. Because I was rooting for Freddie over Catherine. And then towards the end of the week, I was like, oh, I think you two may be as bad as each other, but in slightly different ways. So what did you think initially, or as it went on with them as a couple? Because I was like, my head was hurting by the end of it.
Yeah, definitely my head was hurting. I'm curious, actually, what you think about Freddie, because I think Freddie came off a lot better this week than Catherine did. And I think I was a bit more on the fence with Catherine than you were last week. But Chris, I am in the fucking opposite end to the Catherine corner right now. And I'm going to zoom right almost to the end. And then we can go back and talk a little bit about that week. But the thing that really fucking pissed me off, right, is when they were both meeting Catherine's parents. So she's obviously, there's been hints, hasn't there, that she's got this kind of privileged lifestyle. Like, she's 29, isn't she? And she's had a fairly good upbringing and what have you. And, you saw a bit of that with some of her friends, very much like, I've forgotten her name now. I was saying it the other day, the one out of maths who's from Chelsea and ended up with the guy from Poland, the tennis coach, and he was just never good enough for her. Is it Laura? I think it might have been Laura.
Yeah.
But I'll Google when you're talking. But it was when the parents said to her, oh, you look nice and whatever. And I know she's got this background of being adopted and stuff, but, they said, oh, you look nice. And she's like, well, yeah, it's because I've not been here. I'm like, you ungrateful little, see you next Tuesday. And then she goes on about, oh, yeah, have me doing the dishes all the time. I'm like, right, madam, off you fucking fuck. Right? Did you pick up on that?
Yeah.
Because I just thought, right, you are fucking 29. You're clearly still working. You're still living at home, But you meet up with your mates to go to these glamorous London clubs and stuff, and you're moaning about doing the dishes. You're probably living there rent fucking free. And I don't know. It just really fucking pissed me off as like this real petulant, immature, childish thing to say. So, I mean, honestly, I was not liking her. I think right from episode 5, you can still see she kind of, her and Freddie seemed to seal the deal, didn't they, on the first night? But then as soon as the conversation starts to turn to Ollie, you can see things aren't really closed off for her in terms of Ollie. She's definitely still lighting a bit of a fire there. And I thought more would have happened, but I think that's mainly to do with Ollie. And, he hasn't entertained anything happening there at all. So I wasn't particularly in Catherine's camp at all as the week went on. But yeah, that fucking conversation with the parents, honestly, it just really, really pissed me off.
No, and I agree. And I don't think it was. I think what you said about the girl in maths with the Polish guys, right? The tennis player. But do you remember the blonde girl who's still with her parents, and her dad was some like Essex gangster, and she was like the princess and all that. They lived in a fucking mansion, didn't they?
George.
That's it. Oh, George. Yeah, fucking George. Dave, he's advertising TRT for men.
Honestly, I saw him on something on Instagram. Yeah,
it don't look any different. Up. If you're taking TRT, you're supposed to look fucking like, different, shall we say? Yeah, The Rock, basically, because it's just like having steroids. And he's an advert where he's like, yeah, if you're really feeling down. Then I went on Twitch because a friend of mine does streaming where like one of the games I play, and there he is streaming, still doing the same stuff he was doing in maths that he got caught out with. But yeah, she was horrendous, and I got the same vibes with Catherine. I've got this like her mum and dad just look like normal people, and she just looks like a pampered fucking princess, doesn't she? She's got her own way. She's stamped her feet throughout her life. Lo and behold, she's got to wash the fucking pots, Dave. You know what I mean? I mean, she's the type, really, who instead of washing the pots, she'd probably buy him a dishwasher for Christmas and go, that'll teach you fuckers trying to get my hands dirty. You know what I mean? Horrible person. I'm with you. I felt that there was a weird conversation with Freddie about, she obviously it's bordering on bullying. And that was too strong a word, but he was saying the way you speak to me. And then she went, well, I want to change. And he went, but are you going to change permanently, or is this just a bit of a thing? And then you go back to type. You can't say that. Well, he can, because you obviously are being a horrible person to him. You've been a horrible fucking bitch to him. And it's like, no, don't be nasty. Be better. And I think what got me with Freddie, so I will say I wasn't feeling sorry for her at all, because I didn't like her. She's definitely reality TV fodder. She's absolutely reality TV'd up. She wants to be there. She's basically like Sam. She wants to be on everything going. She loves the smell of her own farts. It's when he meets his family, and then his family there. He asks brother, and will you be my best man? It's lovely. She seemed to buy into it. But when they were talking to like his mum, and she says about him being loyal because he'd admitted to her the episode before that he had cheated, and that was a red flag. I'm not saying she shouldn't have a reservations about that. He obviously said, I've told you, I want to tell you, to be honest. I don't agree with cheating, Dave, but also I'm thinking, well, I don't think this is going to work now you've done that. She's got leverage against you, whatever happens. She does say, I was cheated on, I was bullied. That's why I'm quite sassy. I go at people, and I'm like, if it's a defense mechanism, I sort of understand it, but then I'm sort of thinking, were you really bullied? Are you sure? Because she's coming across as a bully. They say someone who gets bullied becomes the bully. It felt very...
Mean Girl, 100%.
Yeah, Mean Girl. It felt 100... It felt like it was the other way around to me, personally. But it was when Freddie was like, I'm thinking, right, so you're a funeral director and all that. And he's going, would you be interested in signing a prenup? Now, I think personally, Dave, that wouldn't be a bad thing for Catherine, because I don't think she's
ready. I think he absolutely should get to sign up.
No, I do, but I felt like the way he delivered it, and I was like, holy shit, mate. And he's like, well, I want my money. I'm like, how much fucking money have you got being a funeral director? He's obviously got some dough behind him, or there's something in the family, because it seemed, I was like, fucking hell, he must be loaded. And I think for her, she's probably like going, hang on a minute, how much money's this lad got? So I don't know. It didn't work between either of them. I'm swaying more towards Freddie, but I just felt towards the end he was that serious and that thingy. I was like, what's going on here? What's he got fucking hidden in the cupboard, Dave? You know what I mean? Like, bizarre couple.
I don't know. Like, funeral directors, the owners of their own business. I mean, I can imagine look, it's not going to be he's not going to be Richard Branson, is he? But I can imagine he's got a little bit tucked away, and he's probably owning his business there. He's got, he might own his own house and stuff. And, fucking Catherine there, she's probably putting Backstreet Boys posters still up in her fucking room or something, or whatever her era would be.
Mark.
Yeah. I was going to say Bros, but she's definitely a bit young for that. So I'll take that, maybe. He's 17. But, so I just think he's right. He absolutely should do a prenup, because they're rushing into this thing. I get the impression that off camera, she is a bit of a see you next Tuesday, because she doesn't come across too badly on camera, but you only see the aftermath, and you've seen, his whole body language change when he communicates with her. Instead of like, standing up broad shouldered and stuff, just talking to her face to face, he's kind of hunched over and looking at his feet and stuff. I think she's quite horrible off camera, to be honest. But also, you're right, the thing about the cheating, I mean, he didn't put like a timeline on that. So again, he's 32. He's not like one of these kids who come on to Love Island and might have fucking snogged someone else when they were 16 or something. And that was the cheating episode. But I just think she's looking for the out. And I just, you see her energy change when she's speaking to Freddie, as opposed to when she was speaking to Sam right at the end of that episode 9, or speaking to Ollie as well. Her eyes light up a lot more. She's a lot more flirtier. I just think she's not interested in Freddie at all. These two have got no chance.
No, not at all. I'm with you. And I think more than anything, he needs to get the hell out of there, if I'm being honest. But yeah. Bizarre. But
what did you think about the I mean, her friends as well. So it was, I just looked it up and then I bloody closed it down. Hold on. Laura and Arthur from Maths. Those were the two. The Polish guy was Arthur and she was Laura. Because her friends were fairly horrible. And I don't think Catherine's friends were quite as bad. But again, I don't think they really, they sort of reflect a lot about the person, don't they? That you can see, depending on who the friend group is, and they were just fucking mean girls as far as I was concerned.
Yeah, they were, and that's the problem when you've got friends like that. We've seen this on numerous TV shows. The friends, if they're enabling people's bad behaviour, it just makes it worse. It's more justified the way they treat people, isn't it? We've seen it on numerous occasions on these shows, and the friends are coming in like, oh my God, you are the epitome of the mean girls, or the mean guys, I suppose, whatever. If you've got dickheads around you, you're only going to be that. If you've got nobody checking you, if you've got nobody sort of pulling you down, they're not real friends, are they? Saying, hang on a minute, you can't do that sort of thing. This is wrong. They're just going with whatever she says, aren't they? Which is just fucking stupid. So
I'm trying to defend her that she doesn't go to these posh fancy places like every day. But again, something that Ollie said in the very early episodes, and there was the mention of this London club, and Ollie had said, "Oh, right, you're one of those girls, are you?" And she's like, "Oh, what do you mean?" And I have no idea what that club is, but I can. I'm not going to say it's like Stringfellows or something, but I can imagine it is a high class, expensive place. And I think their lifestyles just don't match at all. I mean, it's not like she was making out like Freddie's just sat at home watching Coronation Street every night. With a body like that, he's putting fucking 5 hours or something on top of his job. He's doing lots in the gym. He's weighing out all his food and everything. He's obsessed with his body and how he looks. So that's almost like his side hustle. Not been on his Instagram, but I imagine he's got quite an active Instagram. So, massively different personalities.
100%, 100%. And one of the other couple, well, most of the couples, I don't believe any of these fuckers are going to be together, if I'm being honest, but we'll talk about it at the end. Ollie and Demi, Dave. So Ollie is a very strange guy. He seems to be that when they're behind closed doors, they are loved up. But when he's in a situation where he's back with the group, whether it's the guys, the girls, or it's, they're all together, there's something still there slightly with Catherine, but he then starts playing up to this character, doesn't he? like he's sort of, I don't know, just playing up to the camera, I suppose, and that. But then off the camera, he's like, yeah, we're really, happy and everything. And I don't feel that there's anything between these two. I honestly don't think he's gonna get any further than the end of this show, if I'm being honest. And I just feel that he's playing for the show, with the whole family meet up and that with her dad. Her dad was getting emotional, the bowling and all this. It didn't feel right, did it? I mean, he's telling all the right things. By the end of the week, he's sort of saying, like, what a great person. I'm so in love with her. But by the start of the week, he was questioning why he's even in the show. He kept storming off when he got together with everyone. So I don't know what this guy's doing.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's going to come across brutal, but I feel he just doesn't fancy her. I think it's as simple as that. He'd said in one of his introduction pieces that he generally dates someone based on looks, and so he's going to try this thing out. But You can just see it again with the energy. I just don't think he really fancies her, and we've seen it that many times on these shows, though, Chris. It's these patterns, isn't it? And it's like, oh yeah, we should take things really slow. When it's coming from the bloke and the woman's like, no, I'm ready. Come on, let's go. And the guy's like, no, let's wait for the attraction to build a bit. Yeah, it's not doing that. But I also think he's hyper aware that, he's on the camera. He doesn't want to explore anything else. I think he's just going to ride this out. They might actually, say yes. I mean, is it technically it is a real marriage at the end of it, isn't it? Actually, that's what they have to say. It's a real marriage, but I'm sure you could get it annulled pretty much very quickly. I could see, for the perception of it, they might stay together, but longer term, I just don't think there's any spark with them.
No, I'm with you. I don't think there is at all. And I think poor Demi's going to get ditched at the altar, unfortunately, Dave. I don't think she's done anything wrong. I think personality-wise, she's so much better than Catherine anyway. Even it doesn't matter, what he thinks as a person. She's such a nice person, and it's like, be better about that. You shouldn't judge her on her looks. I think she's a pretty girl anyway, so I don't know what his problem is. Yes, we all have a type. I get that, but I don't think his dialogue's been great when he's been with the guys either. He's sort of playing this too cool for school thing, like, oh yeah, whatever, can you give it? But then with a dad, he's saying all the right things. And that's what I find weird when they meet the families, everyone, no matter who it is, whether it's Catherine, whether it's Ollie, they're saying all the right things. And then you're thinking, but the poor family are going to be there to see their daughter or son get ditched at the altar by one of you fucking balloons. You know what I mean? Like you're absolutely just going to take the mick, basically. So, yeah, I mean, look, I'm here for the fucking weddings and the reunions, Dave. Let's be honest. I can't wait, because there'll be some couple get together who has nothing to do with what we've seen. But yeah, just such a shame. And I mean, what did you think of Thingy Day, Bobby and Jasmine? Because they seem okay. They seem happy. Jasmine had alluded to he's not her type, but I think everything seems to be working. But she did say about her mum, Dave. Now, I'm not being funny. No matter what relationship they've got, if I was Bobby, I always say it, but the juice ain't worth the squeeze, Dave. Her mum's going to be a fucking nightmare if they're together. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I mean, it did cross my mind. I thought, crikey, how good would that relationship have to be to put up with a mother-in-law like that? And I think for me, I mean, you're talking Margot Robbie territory, Chris. You're talking, it would have to be on that level to put up with that shit constantly. And I did see in our Facebook chat, people were saying that, culturally, the degree thing is a big thing. So I for whatever reason, that is a huge thing for families and parents and stuff. So to have their daughter married to someone who doesn't have a degree, that really isn't a good thing. But I mean, it just came across really disrespectful, didn't it? And I just, it wouldn't be for me. I'd be fucking off ski. But I just think they'll probably, these two. Would they say yes? I think these two might say yes, actually. Again, I still, everyone on this show is here for followers and stuff. But these seem to be going along okay, I think.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think these have a 50, well, it's fucking 50-50 anyway. But I think realistically, I would say out of all the couples, they're my second couple. There's one couple I think I'm not convinced, but I'm more convinced anyone else will say yes. I think these are the second ones, because there does seem to be a chemistry there. There does seem to, the drop in that barrier, the way they're talking on camera, the body language seems quite genuine. So it'll be interesting what happens in the last episode and that. But I will say, Dave, Maria and Tom, these guys are not going to be together. Tom starts telling him about a career. I just want what's best. I want this, and he's saying all these things. Maria, he's saying no, I just want, she wants to be looked after her. And when they see her family, the mum says everything the opposite of what Tom has said. And then Tom is looking and he's got the blonde girl who come in and he's chatting to her, who he'd spoke to.
Oh,
and
God, yeah.
Maria's going, I'm not bothered, I am not bothered one bit. I am not jealous one bit. And I'm like, I think you fucking are. And I tell you what, I'm not being funny. I think she was right to think that because I think Tom would be off like a fucking shot.
It was weird, and I'm not sure if I maybe just passed out for a few seconds, but Tom went back to Maria and said, "Oh, she declared a love for me, pretty much." And I was like, "Did she?" I know she was saying she had sort of feelings for him and stuff, but I didn't see that she declared a love for him. Did you pick up on that?
No, I didn't. I didn't see that at all. I think it was just a conversation, wasn't it?
Yeah, it seemed to me like he was blowing it up more than it really was. But yeah, I mean, they're a strange couple, aren't they? I mean, Christ, I thought in the initial episodes he was pretty laid back, pretty chill. Now I just think he's fucking boring. He's just got nothing about him at all. But there are so many kind of cultural differences as well. This thing about paying half or whatever. She's a makeup artist. He doesn't like that as a career, but then he'd picked up the first dinner check and she said she was going to pick up the second one, but when it came to it, she got the ump about it. And apparently, like you say, she just wants to be sort of looked after. Now, I've never been in that situation, so I don't know. I've got no frame of reference to whether is that just her, is that Maria just saying that, or is it, if you marry into a Muslim family, is that the way where just, the bloke becomes the sole provider and then, the woman stays at home? It's kind of anti what's drummed into us, or a lot of our adult lives. It's all been about kind of trying to rebalance equality and stuff like that, hasn't it? And this seemed a little bit counter, just a clash of cultures.
Yeah, it did, and he came across more reality TV than anything. I thought more wanting to stay on for the show, just saying what he felt everybody wanted to hear. And I don't think he come across genuine at all, Dave. He felt like, even when he was speaking to some of the guys, it was like, I'm just sort of here because I am, if you know what I mean. He'd never felt like Maria at any point was their relationship serious. I don't know whether with her, she really believes it and whether she's just doing it for the show and she's sort of like, I'm just going to have to go along with this because he is a bit of a dick sort of thing. But you're right. Everything about him to me is a red flag. And I think these, I'm fucking amazed if these are together. I'd be unbelievably amazed if I'm honest. I think I said it before. I think the only couple I've got a little bit of hope. However, and that's Stephen and Sabrina, I think they're like my favourites to say yes. However, when we met Stephen's two mates and his brother, and they were genuine, one of his mates is like, well, I'm sorry, I was 5 years with my girlfriend and 2 years, been my wife, 2 years by the way, 7 years and all this. And it doesn't matter. You can get together so quickly. Me and Sam got together after a month and we got engaged after a month, 25 years later. Yes, we knew each other before, but it doesn't always work, having to have that long courtship. But also it doesn't always work doing the short, the courtship engagement thing, but it does for some people. But I was convinced by them, but it was when Sabrina was saying, yeah, well, the thing is, I'm a marketer into like the fitness industry. What, Stephen? He's a fucking fitness influencer, Dave, runs a gym and that. Well, it's a match made in heaven. She wants to move to London. Another match. And I'm thinking, these two, are they just here for the convenience of, she can promote his business. For him, he likes the fact that she can do that. And then also she gets somewhere to stay, like sort of a Birmingham way or London if they decide to move that way. I don't know. They just fell off at that point. Whereas before, I've been completely convinced that these were probably one of the most solid couples.
I thought the biggest thing between them, the biggest red flag, if you like, was the location. I don't think she was looking to move to London, unless, again, I passed out for a few seconds when that conversation happened. But I thought when the conversation came around, where to live, Stephen was more like, yeah, let's just kind of see how it goes, kind of thing, and it was quite dismissive about it, and when, again, I'll draw back that same season on Maths, you had those guys. One was in Northern Ireland, one was in Leeds, and there were such different environments to grow up in, and you're right there in Northern Ireland on the beach. It looks all nice open spaces and stuff, as opposed to the big smoke and everything. I just thought everything, their interactions, I could kind of buy into, but it was how dismissive they both were, to be honest, about really having a deep, serious discussion about, well, where would we live? He's 37, she's 35. They're really going to see for the next, I don't know, 5 years, and then figure out where they're going to live after that. It's holding me back from truly wanting to invest in this couple, to be honest.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's one of them things where I do think they'll say, yeah, I'll stand by that. But the dialogue's off for me. Just everything's off there. She just said she commutes between Belfast and London. And then she did say with one of his brothers or his mate, I'm looking at, moving to London. So that's where, for me, I was thinking, this works perfectly for both of your careers. If she can take him on as a client and do a bit of promoting, whatever. Yeah, I don't know. And I'll go back to very quickly, Dave. I've sort of alluded to it, but let's do a quick rundown. So let's start with Stephen Sabrinen. I do or I don't, Dave?
For the show, I do.
Okay. And they're obviously going to be the Chris Phelps research, Dave, of just searching Google 5 minutes before we record with my roving report skills to see who's together and who's not. Maria and Tom.
Don't.
Bobby and Jasmine.
I'm going to say I do to them too, actually.
Okay. Ollie and Demi.
I don't. Are you going to throw out your predictions? Your infamous...
I'm going to throw at the end. Yeah, I'm going to throw at the end. The reality radar. So Ollie and Demi, did you say I don't?
I don't, yeah.
I don't, yeah. Yeah, okay. Catherine and Freddie?
Don't.
Nicole and Benaya?
I don't, no.
So it's pointless me even throwing my predictions out because I agree with every single one that you said, Dave. So, and I'm not just saying that, I do. I think every one you've said is correct. The one that would be the biggest curveball for me more than anyone is Catherine and Freddie. If they say I do, then fuck me, what is going on in the world? Even over Ollie and Demi.
I'm just looking, actually, because he's talked about being from Manchester, but I'm just looking. He's got his hometown here down as Bolton.
Yeah, he said Bolton in the show, but he sounds Mancunian. So whether he's moved to Bolton, because he did do. The thing is, you've got places of Bolton that are also Salford where they cross over postcode slightly. So he doesn't sound like he's from Bolton to me. He sounds like he's from Manchester originally. Anyway, maybe he's just moved up that way, Dave. But yeah, interesting. But I've got to say, I am enjoying this. We're up to episode 9. We've got 2 episodes left. They are releasing tomorrow and the Wednesday as we record this. So that'll be the end of the show. And I think it's worked this. I really do. I think the format has worked. I've believed it. We've both sniffed out the absolute bell ends that are on reality TV, and that's exactly what we should do. But I will be up for a second series. Well, yeah, no, but I will be up for a second series. I've had a watch, Dave, yeah.
Yeah, no, it has been a decent series, to be fair. Very, very much like the US, isn't it? Almost the scene for scene, pretty much. But yeah, it has been good.
No, it has. It's been good. So massive thank you, everybody. We really appreciate it. Thanks for holding out while I was gallivanting on one of my numerous holidays. I do appreciate it. But it was my 25th wedding anniversary. So myself and Samantha had an amazing time over in the Isle of Wight. So it was excellent. Making memories. It was actually sunny, Dave, which was amazing. So actually it's sunny in Manchester as we record, which is definitely unheard of, but there you go. So no, thank you everyone for the support and nice messages on social media. We really appreciate it on our Facebook page as well. Chris and Dave's Reality TV Cast. If you want to get over there, guys. If you do want to support us, please get over to patreon.com/CD Realitycast. If you want to email us, cdrealitycast@gmail.com. And if you want to follow us on social media, @CD Realitycast. So the roll call of honor and a massive thank you to Marcy, Stacey, Sinead, Kathleen Sims, Andrea, Nick, Danielle, Kim, Amanda, Larissa, Helen, Nicole, Nicola, Fiona, Maggie, Zoe, Gillian, Keith, Helen, Chloe, Joanna, Libby, Susan, Hennessy, Tracy, Lauren, Lucky Lulu Green, and Ken Gustafsson. So thank you so much for your support. Welcome back to our good friend Tracy. And Dave, it's time for us to go, my friend.
It's very good. It's good to have you back, mate. And we'll record again at the weekend, see out this series, and figure out what we're doing after that. So thank you very much, sir. Thanks to all our listeners out there. Thanks to all our supporters. And we'll speak to you next time.
Bye.